How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be starting up my Sharks of Summer series. Sharks of Summer is a series I do around here where once a week, at least once, during the summer I take a look at a shark movie, and to start us off this year, we're going to be looking at the Requin, which I believe is French for shark. So that's cool. This movie came out 2022. It was written and directed by Le-Van Kiet and stars Alicia Silverstone and James Tupper. Now, I wanted to do a good movie to start off the year. You know, it's the beginning of the whole series, let's pick something cool. And I thought, hey, modern shark movie with a bit of a budget, this one might be fun, right? Well, no, I kind of picked a stinker to start off with, but whatever, let's talk about it. The movie doesn't work on several levels, and one of those is on a shark level. You see the cover, you see the title, big old shark there, gonna eat 'em up. Sadly, the sharks take a while to get into this movie. Like, they're not really in the movie until the last act. The sharks, at the end, they act like, oh, it's the big rivalry, it's all been against the sharks, and I'm like, the sharks just got here. And also the movie is like super serious, and the sharks are kind of goofy. At one point, a shark jumps out of the water, does this big freaking belly flop, and I'm like, this does not feel like the same movie I've been watching. But yeah, it just is one of those movies that in the last act is suddenly a shark movie when it really wasn't before, because before it was a very dry drama, and that's one of the biggest problems with this movie. It's not cheesy, and it really should be, and it's not clever. It's just a drama, you know? Like the movie, you get a little cabin that gets blown out to sea, and it essentially becomes open water, but in a house. And that's a cheesy, dumb concept where we're in a cabana in the ocean. Like, that's kind of silly, but the movie does not realize at all that it's silly. And you think, okay, well, you're on a raft, maybe you can do some crafting, find a way to get water, or steer the boat, or catch fish or something. But no, there's shockingly little survival in this movie at all, and in turn, it's mainly just drama. It's mainly our two leads sitting on this raft, just crying. If you want to do drama, that's hard. You got to make us care about the characters. You have to make it interesting and multifaceted. But what they have to worry and be sad about isn't super involved, and you kind of get just a bunch of dialogue loops repeating the same points over and over, and it's not super interesting, and it's just kind of our two leads sitting on a boat and crying for a while. And to be honest, I had to turn on the subtitles because they're crying and bubbling, and I couldn't understand them because they were just so sad. But yeah, no, I would have wished that this was cheesier. I mean, it's a cheesy concept, and it is a shark movie. I want to see something fun, and that's not what it is, despite the dumb concept of stuck on a house in the ocean. And I think part of that might be because of the budget. You know, you do a high-budget shark movie, you can do cool things. You do a low-budget shark movie, you can be cheesy. You do a mid-budget shark movie, too much money and dignity to be cheesy and stupid, but not enough money to actually pull anything off. Sadly, not really much worth watching. I mean, the end, we do get some fun shark moments. It just takes a bit to get there. Overall, can't really recommend it. Die-hard shark fans that are willing to sit through two uninspired acts to get to a shark movie, you can watch it, and it's not the worst thing ever. It's just kind of boring until it gets interesting, you know? Yeah, not a strong recommendation. But let's go ahead, and I want to do a bit of a deeper analysis. I want to talk about parts of the plot, no major spoilers, but I do want to do a bit of a deeper analysis. I just don't have to ruin the end to do that. So into the plot. We open up with credits, And right off the bat with these credits, you can tell the movie is a little bit off. We get gray credits in dark water and okay music, but not like a brilliant score to keep us entertained. And the credits just go on forever while nothing much happens. And then we get to the twist of the credits scene as the camera pulls up and we see a pregnant woman's belly. And it's like, haha, you were in a bathtub the whole time. Not only is this scene boring, but where it ends is just a weird place. And it sets the tone for the movie that we don't really know what we're doing. After that, a bunch of vacation footage of an older couple in the touristy part of Vietnam. And yeah, I will say older couple, the movie later on references them dying young when things get dangerous, and then they're also worried about, you know, their first baby. And I'm like, this movie was written for a much younger couple, but I won't dwell on that point. We do get just a little bit too long of vacation footage, and then they go back to their cabin, and we do get a bit of the drama. And the thing with the drama, the problem for these people in this movie is the woman had a miscarriage, and now they're sad. And that's about it. I mean, this is a terrible and sad situation, no doubt, but that doesn't mean that it translates into an interesting film. And we basically get, we're sad, it's nobody's fault, it's okay, and we can get through this. That's your basic points, that's your basic plot, what anyone could come up with, and we're just going to loop and loop and loop and hit these notes over and over and over again without doing anything interesting, without changing, without making any steps forward in the plot. We're just going to keep hitting them over and over. And it's like, there could have been more. Like, the husband at the end references that they had briefly talked about divorce, and he doesn't say that till way too late in the movie, unless he mumbled it out before I turned on the subtitles. But yeah, that could have been interesting. If you had talked about that earlier, we could have digested it throughout the rest of the movie. But no, it's just kind of thrown out towards the end there, just a brief reference. And then, like, she kind of has a water trigger because a miscarriage happened during, like, a water birth. And she's constantly surrounded by water the whole time, but it only triggers her when the movie needs a flashback. And in turn, it feels kind of random. But yeah, we have to give them something sad to pad out the movie. Again, not explored. Anyway, though, they're on a cabin, one of those cabins actually built out on a dock, and in turn, their cabin is literally on the water, and a big storm comes, and the hotel says, hey, you can move inside if you want, but you'll probably be safe. Probably. And we also get way too much of the opening of this movie reminding us that the phones aren't getting signal and we can't connect to the internet. I wonder if that will have an impact later in the movie. For real, you can say it once and we'll get it, but they bring it up a lot. So needless to say, the storm comes and pushes their whole cabana out into the ocean. And that's a silly concept, and I mean, maybe it could happen, maybe a cabana could break off and maybe it would float, but just the idea that you're on a little house just floating in the ocean is kind of silly, you know? It's open water, but in a house, and it's just, the movie doesn't ever realize that it's kind of cheesy, so we don't get fun, cheesy moments, and we don't get survival. We get, like, her diving and getting some supplies from underwater, and we do get one scene where there's like a cloth and she realizes that it's caught morning dew and she tries to drink some of it. I want more stuff like that. I want more effort. You know, I want them to come up with something clever to survive, but they don't. Honestly, early in the movie, the storm, the guy breaks his leg, and in turn he's not super mobile, and in turn it kind of traps him in one position, so he's just kind of sitting there. Every now and then the wife will do something, but it's mainly, we're going to be sad, and we're going to kind of cry here, and hope we can get 2 acts out of this. And also, there's just some bad directing in this movie. Like, at one point, she thinks she sees a plane, and she's trying to signal for the plane, but I didn't see it. And I'm like, is she supposed to be going crazy? So I had to rewind, pause the movie, and play a little bit of a Where's Waldo? Is a tiny little plane in the corner, and I'm like, you do realize this movie won't only be seen on the big screen, right? Some of us are watching it at home on our TV, and we don't have giant TVs. I mean, yeah, that's how far away the plane would be, but can you get an insert shot of it a little closer? Because honestly, I thought she was going crazy and seeing planes that weren't there. There's a few shots like that. There's also some bad CGI shots, like, you just look at the screen and you're like, something feels off and I don't know what it is. And then you realize, oh, this is a weird green screen moment. I mean, I don't have proof that it's green screen, but there are definitely moments that don't feel 100% real. And then there's a moment of what I'm sure is CGI fire later on, so not great special effects either. Eventually, the sharks will come, the movie will, by default, get more interesting. It's just, when the sharks come, it acts like, it's the big rivalry, me versus the shark, this is what the whole movie's been about, right? No, they just showed up like 10 minutes ago, and now we're acting like this is the whole point of what the movie's always been about. And I love how most of the time when the sharks are there, there's so many shots of just the main lady hitting them with a board. And I'm like, we're a serious drama, and then we devolve into hit the shark with a board. Yeah, great. So the ending of the movie is okay, and some of the first two acts are okay. They just drag on for too long, and I would have liked either, introduce the sharks earlier, that's a big one, more survival elements, and just embrace the cheesiness. But padding it out and dragging it out with stock drama that doesn't really go anywhere, that was a huge mistake, and it makes the movie kind of boring. There is something here towards the end when we get some shark fun, but not enough to save the movie, so not a strong recommendation. But anyway, this is only the beginning of Sharks of Summer 2024. I hope to cover some interesting stuff later on, so here's to see what we're all gonna get. But that being said, I have covered more shark movies before, and at the end of the video a playlist will pop up. If you guys want to see me talk about like Open Water or Jaws, those should be in there. And if you have any suggestions for this year's Sharks of Summer, I would be willing to hear them. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave that shark playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.